Thank you, Fred, for your beautiful music this morning, original music. Good morning, my beloved community. Thank you. And greetings to all of you here in the sanctuary today, and those of you who are watching from home. We know you're out there, and I was one of them when I was laid up, and I'm so grateful to the AV team for being able to bring us that. Yes. Keeps us connected and included. My name is Barbara Dunst. I am not Laura Madsen. I'm filling in for her today. She's a bit under the weather. Our settled minister, Rev Tom, will be delivering the message today. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And for those who may not be able to see me well or at all, I'm a mature woman with gray hair, and I am wearing mostly black today, and you can ask me about that after the service. Welcome to the Sunday worship at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach, home of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. Whether you're young or old, whether you're black or white, or whether you identify somewhere in the beautiful rainbow or somewhere in the LGBTQ community or straight, we welcome you just the way you are today, on top of the world, maybe down in the dumps, maybe in a little state of dismay. We welcome you. I have one announcement, well, actually, two short ones. First, very important, if you have items for the auction, please turn them in. And at this time, if you would silence your phones or your devices. And now I will introduce Reverend Tom.
As you probably noticed, since I've been here, Elizabeth has been serving as our music director. We called her our interim music director. I failed to mention to you that we have taken off the term interim, and she is just music director. I love working with her and the music she chooses and makes real every Sunday morning is amazing. So I personally thank you. And you have an announcement.
And I founded Sisters in Spirit, a women's spirituality group that meets here monthly. I also have organized an annual women's retreat for the past 10 years. And this year, the day retreat is going to be held here on the UU campus on March 24th, which is a Monday, from 9:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. The cost is $30 per woman. There will be 2 full group sessions, an opening session led by UU member Andrea Shearer, who is here today, called Moving Together, and a closing session led by last year's keynote, Jessica Regal, with a final meditation. In between, there will be 2 workshop sessions where you can choose from indoor and outdoor activities, Kundalini yoga, watercolor painting, drumming, basket weaving, and meditative walk at Charles Park. I will be providing breakfast goodies and coffee, but you have to bring your own lunch. We're going to picnic at Charles Park this year. Rachel Hanks. Is Rachel in the house? Stand up, Rachel. Rachel Hanks will be out in the lobby, because I don't get out right away, taking registrations for this retreat in the form of cash or a check to the membership. That is the only way to hold your spot, right after the service in the lobby. The maximum number of women is 40. After today, I will take registrations on Wednesday after Qigong, and after next Sunday until we fill up. Thank you so much. I hope you can join us.
And now, let me introduce our UUFVB president, Diane Osiki, and her avatar, Steve.
Yes, quite a bit more than the avatar up here today. All righty. There you go. Super, thank you. I'm standing in for my wife this morning, my wife Diane, who is currently dealing with laryngitis. She was asked to provide a testimonial for the Stewardship Campaign kickoff brunch. My name is Steve Osiki, and behind me is Andrew Brack and Annalie Graper. Diane and I joined the fellowship almost 8 years ago in the spring of 2017. Since then, Diane has volunteered in the Fair Trade Corner and sat on the Bridges Committee. She has helped with many coffee hours and enjoyed Emerson Center events. 3 or 4 years ago, she was asked to be assistant treasurer to the Board of Trustees. Saying yes was a slippery slope to eventually serving 1 year each as secretary and then as treasurer of the board. Currently, she is serving the first year of a 2-year term as president. As such, she frequently attends facilities and finance council meetings. She thinks a lot about the fellowship's policies and procedures and our relationship to the larger Vero Beach community. It turns out that she loves getting together with her UU friends to work things out, things we all care deeply about.
Here are a few things about this morning's stewardship. Here are a few things about this morning's stewardship bunch that she wants to tell you.
First, she really wants to empathize and remind you that we are all in this together, sharing the joys, friendship, and growth and the challenges of UUFVB.
Yes, the operating budget is a place to start with expected annual revenue, and this annual pledge drive lets the Finance Council know how much money to count on for next year's expenses. Making your pledge today is important because it lets the Finance Council know that they have your support as we plan for the 12-month period beginning July 1st. For people who cannot submit their pledge card today, we ask that everyone submit it by March 16th so that the budget is ready for the financial town hall on March 30th. Remember that donations to the Sunday Fund, El Niños, and UUSC, and our other worthy organizations do not count as contributions toward your pledge support for UUFVB.
For Diane, good stewardship requires more than a gift of money. Our fellowship is a brilliant spiritual home for us because of what we do here. We volunteer our time and our talent because we care about each other and about putting our principles into action.
For instance, in respecting the dignity of others, we are compelled to help feed the hungry, as with our transitional meals program. This is social justice in action and is supported by your pledge and time and talent, and the talent of willing volunteers.
Our building would not be a wonderful resource it is for us without the declaration of the Facilities Council. These volunteers watch over everything from plumbing to Wi-Fi to air conditioners to landscaping and not audio-visual and IT support. Their tireless volunteer efforts would not have funding if not supported by your pledge.
I'm going to go off script a bit here right now and simply say that the Facilities Council is the reason that sky doesn't fall in. Please, listen to leaders from our many working groups during brunch this morning. They will tell you what they do, and if you're interested, they will help you get involved. And finally, please remember, 1, pick up your stewardship pledge envelope on the way to Fellowship Hall. 2, complete your pledge card. Tables are set up in the hallway for your privacy and convenience. 3, trade your completed pledge card for cookies before you leave this morning. What a deal. Thank you.
I want to thank all my helpers. They did great.
It is our tradition, over here, to light the chalice at the beginning of our services, and for you to join me in our chalice lighting. This place would be less beautiful without you, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Jew, Hindu, humanist, and earth-centered too. This place would be less beautiful without you. Curious, inquisitive, asking questions, seeking transformation, emerging from within. This place would be less beautiful without you, striving to resist a world that tells us we are so much less than we can truly be. This place would be less beautiful without each of us, born here in this morning, to seek heaven's fire in each other's souls, our own flaming rising to meet.
Please join us for our opening hymn, number 391, Voice Still and Small. We're going to sing it twice. It's only one verse. Rise as you are willing and able.
Voice still Good morning. My name is Ron Lombardo. I almost wish they had left a little box over here. Anyway, it's my honor and privilege to present the Time for All Ages reading. It's caught me rather curious in that the title of it is, What is God? And I think I'm more used to hearing, Who is God? So this is a little bit of a different take on it, and I hope you appreciate. What is God? That can be a very big question, whether you are young or all grown up. Maybe it's a challenge to even try to talk about what God is, because maybe we can't see or hear or even taste or touch or smell what God is. Perhaps we can only feel that, like feeling happy or sad, or we might feel love. Maybe that idea can be felt when you hear music, pardon, whether quiet or powerful, or you look up at the night sky and see millions of stars that might make you feel very small in comparison, or maybe when there's thunder or lightning outside your window, or when we see the ocean or birds flying and mountains and flowers and small animals. It seems like it is a vast mystery, an eternal, forever and ever mystery, like a big puzzle with lots of pieces you have to put together. You see, long ago, people thought that the sun was God, like a strong, great light that shines through and around everything. But now we know that the sun, our sun, is just one star, and compared with a big universe with billions of stars, a rather small one at that. Can anyone really tell us how all the many pieces of this big forever puzzle called God fits together? There are people called teachers from many places in the world, speaking many different languages, some still living today, but many of them lived long ago, and their teachings have been passed along over many, many years, and that's how religions got started. And these religions have different names, like the Christian religion, understanding what God is by the way of a man named Jesus, who taught according to a book called the Bible, and the Jewish religion by the way of Moses, who taught using a book called the Torah, the Muslim religion as the way Muhammad taught using the Quran. For the Buddhist religion, the teacher taught from writings called the Sutras, and many other religions using many different books considered sacred, holy, knowing. But as religions are different, so are they often the same. Most religions teach that you should be good to other people, just like you would want other people to be good to you. Most religions say you should not lie, you should not steal, you should not hurt people. These are the way that religions are the same, but the differences can cause disagreements and sometimes altercations between religions, not knowing, not understanding, because they have a different view of what is God. There's a tool that is taught called praying and meditating, a way to talk to God, and people of many religions use that. When people pray, they talk to God from very deep in their hearts, and something that is very sacred and important to them. And there are many ways to talk to God, but does that mean that everything that everybody ever says about God is right? Does that mean God is everything? Well, yes. In a way, God is everything, great and small. God is everything far and near. God is everything bright and dark, and everything in between. Thank you.
Let's sing the kids out. Oh, there they go. Wow. They're making their way out. Woo-wee. All right. They're close. They're close. So, there are a lot of people in here. See? You look around. There's a lot of people in here. Well, I'm not asking you to meet everybody and say hello, but I would like you to say hello to a few people. So I invite you now to greet those around you and welcome them, especially people you don't know. Apparently, everybody online can hear me come over and say hello to you. That's right, you do know me. Oh yeah, this should be fun. I'm excited. You got it? Here we go. Welcome, everybody. All right. So, hello, everyone. Oh, there it is. I'm on. Am I on? Okay. This is the time in our service. See, if I said that, people sit down. When we acknowledge that we each come together with our own joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. Before me is water, the very sustenance of life. Water can buoy you up, nourish and cleanse and replenish you. It's a source of life, which creates beauty in the very making of tears. This community, like water, is the very sustenance of one another's lives, especially when you remember the sacred obligation to buoy each other up in times of sadness, to nourish one another in times of want, to cleanse one another with acts of kindness and generosity, and to replenish one another when our hearts are weary and worn. Today, with this water, I remind us visually of our sacred obligation to the greater whole. I add salt for the tears that have fallen in this last week. May we remember that there are those among us in pain, so let us be tender with one another. We know not what is held in the silent sanctuary of one another's hearts. And I add flowers to remind us of the beauty and joy that surrounds us in our lives, that floats on the surface of many of our faces and enlivens our spirits. In a moment, I will invite those who find it meaningful to come forward and place a pebble in our collective bowls. But if you would like me to place a stone in the bowl for you, just raise your hand. Now those who wish may come forward and place a stone in our bowls. May all that we offer one another keep us connected and blessed within this hour and within the week ahead. May it be so. Amen.
Now is the time in our service when we express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources. To contribute to the fellowship, place your offering in an envelope from the back of the pew, or donate to UUFEB by clicking on the QR code with your phone. But our offering today also serves another purpose, that of supporting an organization that addresses the needs of the underserved in our community. That is the purpose of our Sunday Fund, one of our congregation's major social justice outreach efforts. Today's Sunday Fund recipient is the Literacy Services of Indian River County. Yes, I get it wrong every time. The loose cash you place in the offering basket will go to literacy services, or you can use the QR code to direct your offering to them. Literacy services assist local adults to learn and improve English language and literacy skills. Using dedicated volunteer tutors, Literacy Services provides effective and innovative learning opportunities. These include one-to-one and small group tutoring, workplace instruction, conversation clubs, and online learning software. As we now receive the offering, let's do so generously and gratefully.
And now we have a time for prayer or meditation. This particular prayer was adapted from one that was written by Unitarian Universalist Reverend Michel Legrave. I invite you into a space for prayer or meditation. Each of us has our own way to enter that space. You might take a deep breath, let your eyelids rest or close, rest your hands in your lap or sit up straight, and turn your attention within yourself. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Breathe in gently. And breathe out gently. Listening to your breath. Now open yourselves to listen for those breaths around you. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or at home or with a family member or cat, or you're sitting at the local coffee shop watching the service today, listen within and listen outside. Each breath entering and leaving each body. I invite you now to place a hand on your chest to feel your breathing. Breathe slowly in, out, feeling each breath. Some of us hear with our ears the sounds we make, the sounds others make. Some of us hear with our eyes, watching lips, hands, arms, and body movements. Some of us hear with our bodies, feeling the vibrations of the air, the sensations that come as our chest rises and falls. Listen as you breathe to the many ways you know yourself and you hear others. As we breathe together in this space and beyond this space, remember how we live together. Breathing, communing, sharing. Breathing gently in and out. Together and apart, we are many and we are one. Listen in the many ways you know how. And let us enter into a time of silence, hearing the breath, yours, others, silence. And now we return from that silence to be present. And let us say, Amen.
So Rev Tom brought me this song, My Atheist Sister, and it's a very new song, actually, and I couldn't find the sheet music, so I reached out to the composers called the Rough and Tumble, and they emailed me back the next day and said they were happy to share their music, and I asked if I could pay them anything for it, and they said no, but if you'd like to make a donation. One of the organizations they mentioned was the Florida Access Network. And I said, karma is good. We've been partnering with them for the last 2 years. So here is My Atheist Sister. My sister and all her friends, they get together on the weekends. They drink some wine and sing some hymns they know by heart but don't believe in. They pack socks and clean water and granola bars in paper bags and hand them out to the unhoused, my atheist sister and all of her friends. She won the award, Atheist of the Year. She takes sick days, goes to the Capitol, swears in the Bible, and bends some ears about equal rights for her daughter and for all the people living here. I've never believed in her more than when she won the award, Atheist of the Year. As the kids grow, and we all know, the award isn't just for herself. It's for all the years of work to keep the Bible secrets deep with all of her shelf. She believes in things unseen like what holds us together, and gravity and empathy and charity,
and even believers like me.
It sits on the shelf by the moonshine I bought her, and the boxes of wine. Next to it sits the upright piano where she plays the doxology late in the night. When you're scared and full of doubt, and for your sins God cast you out, who will love you without fear?
all her friends, they get together on the weekend. They drink some wine and sing some hymns they know by heart but don't believe in. Belief is a funny thing, it don't much matter what you think. It's about what you bring and the harmony you choose to sing. So here's a song to sing with them, my atheist sister and all of her friends.
Or something. You never know what I'll find out there. I never know what I'll find out there.
I thought you said, remember when I fire her.
No. Woo! Better watch that. Okay, here we go. I want to start by sharing part of a sermon that really touched me. A sermon I think about frequently, despite having heard it 10 years ago. The sermon was preached by Reverend Dr. Marlon Lavenhar, the pastor of our largest Unitarian Universalist church, All Souls in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some of you all may have heard of it. The tagline of the church, which is the premise for the sermon, is love beyond belief. The sermon was given at the 2015 General Assembly, our yearly denominational meeting, at the service of the living tradition. Here it is. Our churches are based on the premise that there is no test of faith or belief, which allows us to have incredible diversity of believers and non-believers at the table. And yet, I've seen the reaction some people get when they hear certain beliefs in our congregations. It was brought home to me in 2008 when my church welcomed Bishop Carlton Pearson. He's a black Pentecostal minister who had a mega church in Tulsa for 25 years. He and his family and many of his former congregation joined All Souls in Tulsa. At first, I thought I was going to lose my mind because I was so excited. And then I thought, I'm going to lose my ministry because of all the controversy it stirred up. It was well worth the challenges and risks because there have been so many great effects. 3 months after Bishop Pearson and his congregation joined All Souls, a longtime white member of the congregation walked into my office. He was a staunch humanist, a lawyer, about 60 years old. And he said to me, Marlon, I want to tell you something we'd have never told anyone in this church until now. And I've never told anybody. I grew up Pentecostal, and to this day, I still speak in tongues. I tried not to look surprised, but I was shocked. I tried to think of something to say, and so I said, how often? And he said, probably about once or twice a week. He described it as a kind of meditation that allows his mind to rest. Once I got over my initial disbelief and quietly checked my own prejudices, I was struck hardest by the realization that this is a central part of his spiritual life. And he has spent 30 years in this congregation and has not felt he could tell anyone in the church without being judged negatively, and maybe even made to feel like an outsider. And he was right. I know because that's how I felt myself about my own beliefs. Of course, he's the same intelligent, successful, rational, justice-centered man I've always known. It made me bump up against my prejudices. It was a pretty stark condemnation of me and my community that he felt he had to keep his truth, his spirituality in the closet in order to be welcome in our church. Don't you wonder how many Unitarian Universalists are hiding themselves and their spirituality inside our congregations? I've been with you all, my friends, for, I'm almost 7 months now. And I'm still trying to get you to know you all. And your culture, the culture that's here in this church, this congregation. And here's the thing I wonder. Are there certain beliefs that might not be welcomed here? I know that there is no test of faith, and we don't ground ourselves in any specific beliefs. However, in every congregation I have been part of, whether as a member or as a minister, including this one, I know that there is a culture. And in any culture, there are things that are acceptable and things that are not acceptable. It's normal. That's what happens in any culture. What I've learned, though, is being aware of the cultural norms we swim in can help us consciously decide whether we want to continue to embody certain aspects of our culture or decide we are ready to let go of certain cultural norms. Once, about 30 years ago, I was a worship associate, not a minister, for Reverend Leonora Montgomery. She was our settled minister at Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. She was preaching. I hate to tell you, I don't remember what she was preaching about. But what I do remember is that partway through the sermon, two visitors in the congregation threw up their arms and said, "Amen! Preach it, sister!" The response of the congregation and the minister is something it's just, laser focused in my brain. They were dead silent and staring at them. Just staring. Eventually they just sat down. They left quickly after the service. And what do you think happened in coffee hour? Well, people joked about them. I'm not saying that this congregation would have the same response. As a matter of fact, not long ago, some people joined us for this service about abortion. They held different beliefs than we do, believing abortion is a sin. And at least one of them stayed for coffee hour. I'm happy to say that people from our congregation engaged with her, were respectful, and listened to her thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. You all did not reject her. You didn't make her feel like she didn't belong. But I wonder if she were to return and say she believed in the 7 principles or our values, but she still believed abortion was a sin, would she feel welcome? Are there things we could do to not just tolerate her, but respect and accept her as she was or is? I want to share a couple of possible scenarios with you. And what I want you to do is to pay attention to your first reaction when I tell you these scenarios. Notice what pops up emotionally, physically, the thoughts that pop into your head. Just notice what happens. Okay. Here's the first scenario. You are part of a building your own theology class here at UUFEB. One of the members says that they believe in angels and would like to share with you their understanding of how angels intervene in people's lives. Okay. Again, pay attention to your first response. Scenario 2. A group of UUFEB members start a CUPS group here, Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans. And they decide they want to hold a national meeting of CUPS groups here. They want to put Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans gathering on the wayside pulpits when the meeting occurs. And scenario 3, this last one. One of our UUFEB members preaches about Christian mysticism and hands out prayer cards for the meditation with pictures of Catholic saints on them and a prayer devoted to the saint on the back of the card. The last scenario actually happened at a church that I served. We had a ministerial intern. There she is. That's Gemma Gunther. I invited her to take a risk, to share something of her belief system with the congregation that she had not shared with them before. I felt that since we were a teaching congregation, teaching congregation means that we want to support ministers in training as part of our mission. This congregation said that. The congregation would be supportive of her as she took this risk. And so she did. Unfortunately, there were a few people who weren't pleased. In fact, they were enraged after the service, feeling that the sermon didn't, and the whole meditation thing, didn't represent Unitarian Universalists or the congregation. In the end, this was a teaching moment for both the ministerial intern and the congregation. The intern learned how to talk to people who felt passionately, even people who believed very differently than her. And the congregation was able to explore the prejudices still impacting their religious life. Just to let you know, she's not there now, but she's doing very well. She did pass, the Ministerial Fellowship Committee, and she got to be a chaplain. She's a chaplain now. This experience didn't scare her away from Unitarian Universalism. Thank goodness. Our tradition invites us into a pluralistic community of seekers. And this is what that means to me. In each and every conversation I have, I am open to learning. Open to learning. Even if what I'm hearing is vastly different from my own experiences, ideas, and beliefs. You see, I don't believe that there is one and only truth with a capital T. I just don't. Other people's truths open me up to a broader worldview and sometimes even lead to me searching deeper within myself for new truths. I also understand that both of us, me and whoever I'm talking to, in that whatever conversation, are trying to better understand one another. I mean, that's a given. We are not there to convert the other person to our ideas or beliefs. I want to say that again. When we're in a conversation with anybody here, no matter what they tell you, there's this assumption that we have. We are not in this conversation to convert one another to our ideas or beliefs. We are here to just share them with one another. And I value the sharing as much, or perhaps more, than whatever the product of the conversation might be. Because I believe our conversations deepen our connection with one another, our relationships, and also deepens my empathy for the person I'm in conversation with. One more thing that I think is really helpful, at least has been helpful to me, from these conversations. I gain a greater perspective of my own prejudices and biases. When the other person says something or does something that I have a strong reaction to, now I'm not talking about violence or saying they're going to kill somebody or something like that, but you know, they're telling me something that's very different than my worldview and my understanding. And I have a strong reaction. I stop myself before I respond to them. Usually strong reactions come from my own issues, my own limited or colored past experiences. My reaction can lead me to see how my attitudes still are influenced by my past. Exploring that extreme reaction can not only lead me to greater personal awareness, but also, as I become more aware of myself and my prejudices, increases my choices about what I think and how I respond in situations, particularly with people who hold very different beliefs than my own. For many years, I rejected my Catholic upbringing. So much so that when I hear a Catholic prayer, or heard in the past, a Catholic prayer, I would become physically ill, feel in pain. Fortunately for me, I had the opportunity to talk about my religious past in a workshop called, it's a Unitarian Universalist workshop, called My Haunting Faith. Some of you may know of it. It's changed names now to Owning Your Religious Past. In the workshop, I talked with others who were also exploring their religious past. And as I talked about my Catholic upbringing, I shared that prayers like Our Father or Hail Mary would cause me physical pain. Being able to talk about this opened a door for me to healing, for me to make peace with my past. Gradually, my extreme reactions to my Catholic past began to dissipate. And I was able to embrace some aspects of my past that I truly missed. This Unitarian Universalist faith community provides all of us multiple opportunities to explore our beliefs and to learn more about ourselves through being in open relationship with one another. And as we learn, we can grow in our worldview and our empathy. We can increase our awareness of our own prejudices and biases. And that gives us a wider array of choices in how we respond to people who hold different beliefs than our own. My friends, I invite you to be brave. I invite you to bring your beliefs out of the closet with your friends here at UUFEB. I invite you to be authentic and whole in this community. If we say that love is at the center of Unitarian Universalism, then let's make that more than just a construct we believe. Let's bring that love to life by making this space and this community a truly safe environment where no one is afraid to share their deepest, tenderest, most authentic selves. When we embody the belief that thus we will embody the belief that we need not think alike to love alike. Or, as Reverend Marlin says, we will be able to love beyond belief. Amen.
Amen, brother.
Please join us now in our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. Rise as you are willing and able.
Our closing words were written by Unitarian Universalist Reverend Gene M. Rickard. We have a calling in this world. We are called to honor diversity, to respect differences with dignity, and to challenge those who would forbid it. We are people of a wide path. Let us be wide in affection and go our way in peace. Amen. Amen.